I practice roughly 2 hours a day and spend a lot of time working on the shots I know aren't as sharp as they should be. That's the way to improve, to understand what's going wrong and to correct it. Also game analysis, what works and what doesn't. Against any opponent means the difference between winning and losing. All players have the same basic shot. Success comes in knowing when to use them. Now before you start playing, make sure you have the correct equipment for the job. That means the best racket for your ability, clothing that's suitable, and also a protective eye guard to make sure that playing racquetball is a pleasure, not pain. The single most important investment you'll be making in your racquetball career is the racket itself. You can spend anything from just a few dollars for a supermarket special to around $150 for the latest in equipment developed using space-age technology. Now, rackets have changed a great deal from the early days when a strung wooden device looking more like a cut-off tennis racket was in vogue. The first advancement from those early days was the introduction of aluminum. Designers found that this new material combined lightness, stiffness, and a great deal of flexibility of head shape. The shape of a racket is more important than you think, and we should be getting into that later. A well-made aluminum racket is dependable and is built to survive the traumas of beginning play, when it often will take a considerable amount of abuse. That's one of the problems with another type of racket, those that are made out of injection molded plastic. Plastic provides greater sensitivity, but these frames are less durable in inexperienced hands. Now the third and most expensive type uses aircraft quality carbon fibers, usually called graphite. This material combines the best qualities of both other types, the stiffness of aluminum and the sensitivity of plastic. In racquetball, frames are normally strung with a nylon filament rather than gut, which is used in other racket sports. More important than the type of string is the tension. A tight racket with a nylon web strung at between 30 and 40 pounds will enable you to hit the ball really hard and develop a great deal of power. But you'll find that you'll be sacrificing the other component part of the racquetball shot, control. Simply, it means that you'll be able to hit hard shots, but they may not go where you want them to. Now, a softly strung racket provides just the opposite. Lots of directional control, but not as much power. So don't worry too much about those factors as you start out to play racquetball, because your needs will change as your game improves. Now don't pick a racket which is too tightly strung. Around 20 pounds string tension is a general guideline for a beginner. To make sure you have the right tension, the strings when pressed with the fingers will give a little, but they still won't slip around. Now, contrary to tennis, racquetball grips tend to be smaller. The power in racquetball is generated through the wrist snap, not through a forceful swing. Holding the racket with a tennis-type grip destroys the snap potential. A good guide is to make sure that when held properly, the thumb extends to the first joint of the finger next to it. Play with a glove. Use one which is made of thin leather so that sensitivity is retained. Make sure it fits tightly without constricting the movement of the fingers. Now, a glove will stop blisters from forming and prevent the racket from slipping in your hand. So just remember that if you decide to wear a glove, it may change the size of grip you need on your racket. When you've put together your combination, go onto the court and hit a few balls with it, just to feel if you're comfortable. Remember, a lot of your game will depend upon your finding the right equipment. So take your time and don't be rushed in selecting a proper glove and racket. There are no fixed guidelines as to the best shoes to wear. There are many excellent racquetball shoes on the market, but basically, any shoe designed for indoor court sports like basketball are good. They have the necessary sole construction to support the ball of the foot. If you have weak ankles or if you've had ankles injured during your playing career, you may want to select higher tops, just like Rich. They're comfortable and provide extra support. Don't play in shoes designed for another job. Running shoes are out. They do not have the sole surface to support you in any racquetball game. They're made for running in the heel-toe direction, not for twisting and turning. So take a tip from a professional. You may find it more comfortable to wear 2 pairs of socks. This little trick, used by many of the top professional players, effectively prevents blisters from forming under continuous hard-playing conditions. Now, there are no firm guidelines nor rules about clothing. Just make sure that whatever you wear is comfortable, and if you're a woman, feminine. Racquetball is such an active sport, so make sure that your clothing will withstand repeated washings. And just one last thing before you get out onto the court for some action. Think seriously about protecting your eyes. Nobody wants to hit their opponent with a racket, but sadly enough, the rate of eye injuries in beginning racquetball is on the increase. Be sensible. The best form of eye insurance is to wear a specially designed eye guard. There are many on the market and they're not expensive. They should fit comfortably and ought to allow a maximum field of vision. There are some eye guards that can even be fitted with a prescription lens. But whatever type you choose, remember that you only get one pair of eyes, so protect them. Now, basic knowledge of the rules is a necessary first step to enjoying racquetball. Luckily, the rules are simple, few in number, and quite logical. A racquetball court is 40 feet long, 20 wide, and 20 high. Unlike other games, the ball is played off of all of the surfaces, even the ceiling. Now, the lines marked on the court need some explaining. The most important is the short line, which divides the court equally. Now, parallel to it, and 5 feet in front of it, is a service line. These two lines enclose the service zone. At either side of this zone are two more narrow areas which are only used in the doubles game. Now we're ready to start play. The first thing to remember is the correct service position. You're not allowed to step across the front line during the serve. Your first objective when you serve is to hit the front wall. The ball must land in the back court, and it may touch only one more wall on the way. You can serve straight back or angle off the side wall, but the ball, to be in play, has to land past the short line. Now, what happens if it doesn't? Well, you have two tries at serving. If the first one isn't good, make sure the second is. Now, a serve which comes off the front wall and hits the back wall without first bouncing is called a long. One which hits both side walls is called a three-wall, and that's no good either. Consecutive service errors will cause you to lose your service turn. Now, two basic things to remember. Bounce the ball and then serve it. But don't serve until your opponent's ready. If you start before he's ready, you have to replay the serve. Now, if you're receiving, indicate your readiness with a nod. Now, to continue the rally, the receiver has to get the ball back to the front wall on the first bounce or the fly. There are a lot of ways to do this, and they constitute the essence of the game. Now, the ball can strike as many walls as is necessary, but the ball has to hit the front wall before hitting the ground again. Only the server can score. Games go to 21 points with no deuce or add. Now, a match consists of two 21-point games. If a match is tied at one game apiece, an 11-point tiebreaker is played. By the way, there is an on-court code of conduct for racquetball, and that is, allow your opponent a fair shot at the ball. Don't get in his way. If you're hitting and you find that you may hit your opponent with the ball or your racket as you make your shot, don't swing. Stop the game and replay the point. It can save bruises and friendships. Now, if this is the first time you've ever picked up a racket, don't expect to look like a professional right away. It takes time. But first, let's concentrate on making the right sort of swing, hitting the ball to the right place, and finding the right court position. Practice and experience will then start to improve your game. From a clumsy beginner, you'll develop much smoother shots like this C player. And then with more and more on-court hours and competition experience, you'll become even more advanced. And then, who knows, the day may come when you can challenge either Rich or myself for our rankings on the National Pro-Am Tour.